Yo, Big C in the house. You know the name. Fin Posse Podcast. Changing the game. Fins up high. Feel the aqua and orange. Miami Heat blazing. We scorching the floor. Marino the tour. We stacking the saga. Legacy deep, call it football nirvana. Big C, break it down, got the stats in his veins. Play-by-play knowledge like he's calling the chains. Fins flying on the field, opponents feel the blast. Tyreek cheetah speed, leaving DBs in the past. Waddle with the wiggle, defense with the clamp. Aqua drip so clean, whole squad's the champ. Tune in, Big C, got the mic on lock. Fin Posse Podcast, it's the cream of the crop. Breaking news, hot takes, repping the block. For the Dolphin faithful, it's the one-stop shop. Fin Posse. We the voice of the fans. Miami stand tall, got the world in our hands. Best podcast, yo, ain't no debate. Big C, big vibes, setting it straight. The Fin smash, call it Aqua Tsunami. X locking routes like a South Beach Armani. O-line holding strong, trenches like a fortress. Big C dissected, no stack goes dormant.
You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. Looking for change, looking for pain, pulling a mob.
What up, Fin fans? Welcome to another episode of the Fin Posse Podcast. I'm your host, Big C, and this is brought to you by Game Changers Media. How is everyone doing today? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Another tough loss to the New England Patriots. But I mean, we knew this was a possibility after week one. You know what I mean? The good news is that the Indianapolis Colts look really good against the Denver Broncos. So it's not like we got manhandled by a bad team, I guess. But things are still really super bad in Miami right now. So many different ways that we lost this game, right? There was so many opportunities for us to win this football game, and it falls on coaching. Mike McDaniel needs to go. Chris Grier needs to go. I do think they did enough to save their jobs for one more week. I think this week coming up against Buffalo on a short week in Buffalo against one of the better teams in the NFL, I think this probably will be Mike McDaniel's last game, because Buffalo's gonna beat us up. Buffalo's gonna beat us up. If you got a weak stomach, don't tune in Thursday, right? If you got a weak stomach, don't turn on Thursday. But we'll go over all that. Michael Lombardo, good morning. Raphael, good morning. Philly, what's up? What's up? Sean, what's up? Elwood, what's up? Dolphin Don, what's up? So, yeah, the Miami Dolphins fall to the New England Patriots. Let's bring up the box score. Oh, yeah. Let's blow it up a little bit. The Miami Dolphins fall to the New England Patriots 33-27. The Miami Dolphins had an opportunity to win this game, a couple of opportunities to win this game in the fourth quarter. Tua Tagovailoa just could not get the job done. One possession, he throws an interception. The other, he takes a sack on fourth down. Again, that whole running out of bounds or taking a sack on fourth down, if we're turning the ball over anyway, at least toss the ball up, right? At least give someone an opportunity to make a play. I don't know what the hell that is. Running out of bounds are just, it's fourth down. Why are you running out of bounds and not at least trying to make a play? Toss the ball up, throw the ball somewhere, do something with the football other than just run it out of bounds and turn the ball over on downs. I just don't, that makes no sense. But yeah, the Miami Dolphins had two opportunities to win this game in the fourth quarter. Tua Tagovailoa could not get the job done. Achane made a great move. He ended up stepping out of bounds. It looked like we had got the go-ahead touchdown with a minute left in the game, but he had stepped out of bounds. But Achane's been our best player. I'm not going to hold that against him. You know what I mean? It sucks that it happened. It definitely sucks that it happened, but he has been our best player by far. Devon Achane has been our best player by far. One of the few bright spots that we have on this football team. And the comments coming quick. Tim, what's up? Phins up no matter what, even though we fucking suck. Anthony, what's up? You know what? At the beginning of the year, I said winning is contagious, so is losing. That's a fact, brother. This game, you'll find out if players quit on the staff, if they come out and give a good fight, they care. If we smoke y'all by 39, they gave up. Sean, there's no question that you're going to beat us by 20 plus. Without question. The Buffalo Bills are a good football team. Now, do the Buffalo Bills have holes? Yeah, I mean, the Buffalo Bills do have holes on their defense, on the defensive side. But the Buffalo Bills, you know, James Cook had a phenomenal game yesterday. They beat up on the Jets. I was absolutely wrong. I thought the Jets would have a good opportunity to be able to run the football, considering how many rushing yards that the Buffalo Bills gave up to the Baltimore Ravens. But the Buffalo did a great job yesterday. They did a great job. Justin Fields ends up leaving the game. But the Buffalo Bills are a good football team. And, you know, things looking brighter and brighter for the Buffalo Bills as far as, you know, you got the Chiefs. The Chiefs have been the Achilles heel for the Buffalo Bills in the Josh Allen era. You know what I mean? They've kept Josh Allen out of Super Bowls. They've kept the Buffalo Bills out of Super Bowls. With the Kansas City Chiefs starting 0-2. And listen, the Chiefs could go, you know, the Chiefs could fall to 1-5. The Chiefs have a chance to miss the playoffs. I know how crazy that sounds, but the Chiefs legitimately, if you look at their schedule, they could be in danger of missing the playoffs. Also, good news for the Buffalo Bills is Joe Burrow's out for 3 months. That's huge news for the Buffalo Bills. And the Buffalo Bills have already knocked off the Baltimore Ravens, which, you know, my feeling is Baltimore lost, but, you know, if I was Buffalo, I'd definitely be worried about the Baltimore Ravens. But that's the only thing that's really standing in your way of a Super Bowl is the Baltimore Ravens. Marcos, what's up? What's up? You all can have Bryce Young for a 5th round pick. I mean, we got our own version of Bryce Young, I guess. Do you think our defense will stop giving up 30 points at any point this season? I'm going, hell no. Yo, the defense is historically bad. I cannot believe how bad this defense is. Yep, we need a mobile quarterback. Tua is a statue. Regardless, Miller, you know, Tua played better yesterday. I mean, Tua still couldn't get the job done when we needed him to the most. But let's be real. This defense is horrible. At least we are consistent. 33 points each game. Yeah. JD, what's up? What's up, brother? HN kept us in this. He will be a huge trade target. I think we can net some serious picks. You know, you would think Miller, but he is an undersized back. But he's our best player. He's still fairly young. I don't know if I'm you know, he's He's definitely our most valuable player. Definitely. Philly says Buffalo, Baltimore going to be in the Super Bowl. KC dynasty is over. Yeah, I mean, they failed to give Patrick Mahomes the weapons he needs. You know what I mean? Eagles, Green Bay Packers, NFC Championship. That's what it's looking like, Philly. That's what it's looking like. Green Bay's been really, really, really good this year. Looking absolutely fantastic. But then Detroit came and they put the hammer on the Bears last week, yesterday. They put the hammer on the Bears yesterday. So, I mean, I think the Lions are still in that conversation. Yeah, they had a letdown week 1, but I think Detroit is still going to be up in there. Not even good young talent, late draft picks. You're right. You're absolutely right. DC will be fired. George says DC will be fired before the head coach. And that's the sad thing is that I think we all thought that we had a promising head coach in building, right? We all were hoping that Mike McDaniel would get fired and Anthony Weaver would be given the keys. But at this point, I don't want Anthony Weaver in control. Anthony Weaver has been horrible. Anthony Weaver has not called a good defensive game plan. I don't want to hear the excuse about the corners. They knew what the corners were before the season started. They knew what the corners were before the season started. But let's get this stats out of the way real quick so I can get this off the screen. So the Patriots beat the Dolphins 33-27. The Miami Dolphins defense historically bad. 10 straight possessions. 13 if you go back to last year. 13 straight possessions where the Miami Dolphins defense has given up points. 10 this year. And the only reason the streak ended is because they got the ball late in the second quarter and took a knee. We didn't really end the streak till their first drive of the third quarter. That's ridiculous. You can't win like that. You cannot win like that. 33 points to a New England Patriots defense that's lacking playmakers. They're lacking playmakers. Now, Stevenson played out of his mind yesterday, but no excuse. No excuse. Patriots had the lead in the time possession, 33-7-5 to Miami's 26-25. They had the edge in first downs, 18-16. Total yards, we had them at 358 to 333. Passing yards, Tua went over 300, 297 to 211. Rushing yards, they killed us on the ground. They absolutely killed us on the ground. 122 to 61. Penalties, they had 12, we had 10. Total return yards, 221 for us, 179 for them. Total plays, they had 55, we had 52. Yards per play, we edged them out 6.9 to 6.1. And turnovers, we turned the ball over. They did not. They did not turn the ball over. Tua had that interception, an ugly interception. A ugly interception. Let's take a look at the box score now. Drake May was 19 of 23, 82% pass. Only 4 incompletions on the whole day. Out there looking like a prime Tom Brady. 230 yards, 2 touchdowns, 147 quarterback rating. Ramon Stevenson, 11 carries, 54 yards. Drake May had 10 attempts for 31 yards. We just could not get off the field, whether it was third and long. They were just making plays. We were giving up the first down consistently. Ramon Stevenson, listen, catching the ball out the backfield, he murdered us. Murdered us. Third and long, giving up a huge reception. And I mean, it was a hell of a catch. Don't get me wrong. Hell of a catch, but no excuse. 5 for 88 yards. Diggs had 4 catches, 32 yards. Hooper, he had a couple big catches against us, 3 for 38. Trayvon Henderson, 2 for 30. Booty had that catch in the end zone. Booty, Jack Jones had good coverage. That was just a hell of a catch by Booty. I mean, everything That's when you know things are going bad, because everything that could possibly go wrong, even when the Miami Dolphins seem to have made a good play on the ball or made a good play, they still got smashed. You know what I mean? Tua Tagovailoa was 26 of 32, 81%, 315 yards, 2 touchdowns, and again, that ugly interception, 126 quarterback rating. But again, 2 opportunities in the fourth quarter to get the job done to win this football game, and Tua just could not make it happen. Rushing, Malik Washington, 3 carries for 23 yards, 18 long. Devon Achane, 11 carries for 30 yards, only 2.7. You know, the right side of our offensive line is beat up. Not a lot of holes for Achane. Ali Gordon, 1 attempt, 8 yards. Like, why are we not trying to get Ali Gordon involved at all? Why are we not getting Ali Gordon the ball? Why? What excuse do you have to not give Ali Gordon an opportunity? Give him some carries. Receiving, Alec Ingold had 2 receptions for 13. Jalen Waddle had a very nice game, 5 catches for 68 yards, and he had the tutty. D. Estridge, 1 catch, 8 yards. Tyreek Hill finally gets over 100 yards. He had 6 catches for 109 yards. 47 long, his first catch over 30 yards in over a year. To be real, he shot that long 47-yard catch. Should have been a touchdown, but Tua underthrew him. Absolutely should have been a touchdown. We ended up settling for 3 on that possession. It should have been a touchdown. Should have been a touchdown. Devon Achane, 8 catches, 92 yards, and a touchdown. Malik Washington had a kick return for a touchdown. Defensively, Chop Robinson had a sack. Bradley Chubb had a sack. And Jordan Brooks had a sack. But yeah, listen, man. The Miami Dolphins had opportunities to win this football game. They absolutely did. They absolutely did. And they just cannot get the job done. We have Malik Washington gets the punt return, puts us up. Very next play, we give a kickoff return for a touchdown. Like, come on. Like I said, that touchdown by Booty, Drake May played lights out. Drake May was putting the ball exactly where it needed to be. Drake May has a promising career, right? He can run the ball. He's mobile. He has nice touch on the ball. Like, he was putting the ball right on the money. That Booty catch was fantastic. That Stevenson catch, 3rd and long down the sideline, that was a great pass. Great catch by Stevenson. But the Miami Dolphins just couldn't finish it off. And the New England Patriots are not a great team. They're not a great team. This defense cannot stop anyone. This defense can't stop anyone. Like, I've never been so disappointed in a defense as I am with this Miami Dolphins defense. Now, I knew the secondary was going to be bad. I knew the secondary was going to be bad, but we are so bad up front. This defensive game plan is a joke. You're sitting there and you're watching Jalen Phillips back in pass coverage. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing, Jalen Phillips back in pass coverage? Gay's barely getting playing time. But in reality, it still comes down to bad coaching by Mike McDaniel. We're still getting the play-in late. We get a delay of game, wasting timeouts. Even after having the waste of timeout, that very play, the clock is winding down on us again. Just absolutely no excuse. No excuse. And now Mike McDaniel has decided to start throwing people under the bus. He is after press conference. He's blaming head coaches. He's blaming players for the game plan that they're calling, by not executing, by not, it's just getting worse and worse and worse. It's just getting worse and worse and worse. And I just, the inevitable is going to happen. Mike McDaniel is going to get fired. Now does Chris Grier get fired also? Does Chris Grier get fired also? And I know that question seems stupid, but I truly believe that Chris Grier has a bag full of dirty laundry on Stephen Ross, and I'm not sure Stephen Ross pulls the trigger on Chris Grier because of the stuff still going on with Brian Flores. The stuff that continues to go on with Brian Flores, Chris Grier knows everything. He knows everything. So does Stephen Ross pull the trigger on getting rid of Chris Grier? I don't know. I mean, the coaching, there's too much talent on this team for it to play the way it does. I mean, there's talent on the team. We have holes. We have the secondary is a mess. Secondary is a mess, but we knew that. We knew that. And you're right, Philly, but you see a lot of teams go with average players at certain positions and things turn out all right. There's even with a team that has holes, should have been able to beat the New England Patriots. If Mike McDaniel was a better coach, we would have beat New England. We would have beat New England without question. Without question. If Andy Reid's the coach of the Miami Dolphins, we beat New England easily yesterday. We kick ourselves in the dick. You know what I mean? We do. We do. We do. And this isn't a game that the offense, you know what I mean? Tua had an okay game. And like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if Tua came out and threw for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. He almost had the third one. But that's what he does. But New England, Christian Gonzalez not there. They had a depleted secondary. So it should have been, with the weapons that we have, with Devon Achane, with Tyreek Hill, with Jalen Waddle, you should have been able to throw the ball all over the field on these guys. Miami will get like 7 wins. You guys have. I don't think we're getting 7 wins. I really don't. I don't think we're getting 7 wins at this point, Philly. I don't think we're getting 7 wins. I don't see 7 wins on the schedule because things are only going to get worse. And then who do you put in as the head coach? The easy answer is Anthony Weaver. But Anthony Weaver, what he's done with this defense is inexcusable. Inexcusable. I mean, Philly, there's defense, there's pieces on this defense that are talented. The secondary is beyond horrible. Beyond horrible. At this point, I'd rather have Bevel. I'd rather have Bevel, Cat. Notice how it's not Frank Smith, Cat. But then we look forward to, I know it's only week 2, but do we have confidence that we make the right decisions in the offseason? And I don't want to get into the offseason. It's too far away. But, I don't have confidence that Stephen Ross hires the next general manager, the next head coach. Because if we get it wrong again, that's another 4 or 5 years, man. That's another 4 or 5 years. And I can't take that. I can't take that. At this point, I can't take it. I can't take it. But there was some positives for the Miami Dolphins, and then the negatives. Lots of negatives. Three winners from the Miami Dolphins game yesterday, and this is what we got to do because the team's lost. The team's lost. So you gotta take what you can get. 3 winners from yesterday's game. First and foremost, Devon Achane. Devon Achane has been by far our best player. By far our best player. Now, we only had 30 yards rushing yesterday, but our offensive line is in shambles. The teams want us to throw the football. Teams want us to throw the football. He only had 30 yards rushing, but he had 8 catches for 92 yards and a touchdown. To be honest, we wouldn't have scored week 1 if it wasn't for Devon. But Devon Achane had a great game yesterday. Almost took the lead with a minute left. He did step out of bounds. I'm not going to hold that against him. He was phenomenal though. So he's one of the few bright spots for the Miami Dolphins yesterday. Number 2 bright spot for the Miami Dolphins yesterday, Jalen Waddle. I know Tyreek went over 100 yards, but Jalen Waddle, he gave us glimpses of why we drafted him in the first round. He was holding on to the football. He almost dropped one. But he got a touchdown. He got in the end zone. He was making plays. And he was making plays when we needed him to the most. Number 3 winner, bright spot for the Miami Dolphins yesterday was Riley Patterson. The guy didn't miss a kick yesterday. The guy did not miss a kick yesterday. You've seen how bad the Patriots guy was, missing 2 extra points. Riley Patterson stepped in, hasn't missed a field goal, hasn't missed the extra point. So he's one of the few bright spots for this football team. And then the 3 losers from yesterday's game, the Dolphins defense as a whole. Again, 10 straight possessions this year, giving up points. You're not going to win. I don't care how good the offense is. You're not going to win doing that. You're not going to win playing that type of football. You're just not. We're giving up 33 points a game to 2 offenses that they're not elite offenses, and we're giving up 33 points a game at this point. With Buffalo next up, we're in trouble. Number two, and hear me out, and I know he played better. Tua Tagovailoa. You had the interception. We had two opportunities in the fourth quarter to go and win this football game, and Tua again cannot get the job done. He started out the game really bad. He's lucky that the interception got called bad because of penalties. But again, this secondary for the New England Patriots was depleted. And I know he didn't have the worst game, but again, he didn't look like a $50+ million quarterback out there. And then Mike McDaniel. Mike McDaniel is the other weak spot. The other bad. You know, it's inevitable that we lose to Buffalo Thursday. It's inevitable. That'll be an 0-3 start. We missed the playoffs last year. He's starting to blame everybody else. This is what he said in his after press conference. Ultimately, I look at absolutely everything falling on me. That's responsibility of the head coach, said McDaniel. That being said, I'm very frustrated with basically coaches and players that did not execute communications in a very dire period of the game with the game on the line. Our communication and our substitution was not up to par. Ultimately, I hold all responsibility for all things. You know it's getting bad when the coach starts blaming everyone. You know it's bad when the coach starts blaming everyone. These are desperate words from a desperate guy. Right? What up, Shake? What up? He's attempting to save his job by blaming everyone else, but it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. He's lost this locker room. I mean, let's be real. Next year, Mike McDaniel, Chris Grier, Tyreek Hill, they're not going to be Miami Dolphins any longer. Bradley Chubb, probably. Jalen Phillips. This team is going to probably hopefully look completely different next year. It's a sad thing to, be week 2 and you already know that you don't have a shot. It's a long season. It's a long off season. And sit here at the beginning of a season where, I had some hopes. I didn't think we were a Super Bowl contender, but not in the least. Not in the least. I didn't think that we were a Super Bowl contender, but I thought we can compete. You know what I mean? I thought it was going to be interesting. Miller and Larry Borum didn't play bad. I mean, at the end, they gave up some pressures. That right side of the line didn't play horrible. They played better than what I thought they were going to, honestly. They played better than what I thought they would, honestly. But this offensive line is still not opening up holes. We're still struggling to get the play calls in. We're wasting timeouts and stupid times in the game. It's super frustrating. It's super frustrating. And we still got so many games ahead of us. But I'm going to continue to cheer. I'm going to continue to hold out hope. Obviously this season, we just don't have the proper players in place to get things fixed this season. Right? We don't have the secondary to get things fixed. The secondary is going to continue to be bad. Shame on the Miami Dolphins. Shame on Chris Grier for not addressing the secondary more. Shame on them for not bringing in some depth on the offensive line. Shame on them. And, maybe we still wouldn't have went anywhere because Tua Tagovailoa is the quarterback. But shame on this team for going into the season not properly prepared. It is an absolute joke to sit there and know that your secondary is going to be that bad and not do anything about it. Now, again, I don't think any of us foreseen the defensive front being as bad as they are. I don't think anybody seen that, but shame on the front office for that too. Because I honestly believe if we offered Calais Campbell more money, which they should have, Calais would be in Miami still. So they're to blame for that too. They're to blame for that too. They are to blame for that too. Tomorrow's show, supposed to have Dan Mitchell from AFC East Roundtable, the Roundtable Sports guys. Dan Mitchell is supposed to be on the show tomorrow to break down the Buffalo Bills and Miami Dolphins. Listen, whatever you think of Dan, whether you like his content or not, Dan's a good guy. I've met Dan in person. Dan's a real nice guy, regardless if you like the content or not. But yeah, Dan's gonna come over and join the show. Should be a good time. I'm going to hang out with them guys this week in Buffalo. And it is what it is. I'm just going to try to have a good time. Obviously, the Miami Dolphins are probably going to lose. There ain't no probably about it. But guess what? I'm going to go make a bet on the Buffalo Bills to win. Because it seems like whenever I bet on a team, the opposite happens. So maybe I can jinx them. Maybe I can at that point. At that point, I gotta resort to black magic. Black magic, baby. But yeah, I lost $2,500 on the Pittsburgh Steelers dropping the game to Seattle. It's the only game that I lost on yesterday. Pittsburgh and Seattle. I thought for sure Pittsburgh would win in Pittsburgh. $2,500. So yeah. So I'm gonna bet on the Bills to win this football game. I'm gonna bet probably a couple $100 on it. And if Miami somehow pulls off the impossible, hey, maybe I'll be a couple $100 shorter, but you know. But yeah, I don't know what else to say about the Miami Dolphins at this point. It is what it is. It is what it is. Obviously, you know, I think these guys need to be replaced immediately because we need to start building for the future now. It starts now. We have some guys that are, you know, teams may want. You know what I mean? We need to get as much capital, draft capital, future capital as we can now. JD, I'm looking forward to hanging out with you, brother. Listen, we got to laugh, not to cry, right? You know, we're going to be positive regardless. We're going to have a good time. We're not going to let the score, you know, I think it's a little bit easier, JD, that we're going into the game not expecting very much, right? We're expecting Buffalo to beat us up. So I think it's a little bit easier to deal with than if we were expecting Miami to go in and compete and we get beat up. You know what I mean? So I think it is a little bit easier for me to wrap my head around it. You know what I mean? So I'm just going to go up. I'm going to have a good time. I'm going to enjoy the experience. I'll go live so you guys can see inside the Caesars sports room outside the stadium. I'm going up Wednesday. JD, I'm pretty sure I've been to this bar before that the event's at. I'm pretty sure they got, if it's the same bar, it's connected to the Sabres. It's connected to the Sabres stadium. Well, not Sabres Arena. And it's got floor to ceiling screens. It's a real nice place. It's a real nice place. I'm pretty sure that's where the event is. But yeah, I mean, I'm going in with no expectations this Thursday. I'm just gonna enjoy the feel of an NFL game and try to have a good time. But hopefully bright things are to come, guys. You know, hopefully Tua's time is limited. Mike McDaniel, I expect Friday morning to be let go. Hopefully Chris Grier also. And then we have question marks. Who's gonna be the intern? Who's gonna be in charge of player personnel to, you know, hopefully ship some of these players out of town so we can get some assets to rebuild this football team. I wholeheartedly believe that Tyreek Hill gets traded back to Kansas City. If Kansas City doesn't make a move for Tyreek Hill, they are fools. They are fools because without Tyreek, without giving Patrick Mahomes some firepower, they're in trouble. And that's good news for the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills literally only have, at this point with Joe Burrow out and with the way Pittsburgh has looked the last 2 weeks, the only one standing in Buffalo's way is Baltimore. And to be honest, they got a foot up on Baltimore because they got a head-to-head win, which means Baltimore will have to go to Buffalo in the playoffs. Now, there's a lot of games to be played still. Timothy, benching to a halftime, shoot, he might, you know, hopefully he's been injured from against Buffalo 2 of the last 3 seasons, right? So, I mean, he'd be lucky to be benched. But none of us want Zach Wilson in the game. If you think it's bad with Tua in there, Zach Wilson is not going to be better, folks. Zach Wilson is not the answer. Again, Tua played good enough to win the football game yesterday. He didn't make the plays in crucial moments, but there's no way we should have gave up 33 points to the New England Patriots. So I felt that he played good enough to win. Again, he was a half step out of bounds by Devon Achane from possibly pulling out the win. Now, I mean, there was still a minute left and we were unable to stop the Patriots, but Tua played good enough to win yesterday. He just didn't play elite football. I'm just hoping, we got to all hope and pray that this team will get the rebuild right this time, right? About Dan being here. Well, you know, Dan is supposed to be here. Dan is a very busy person. So I'm not going to say guarantee he's here, but Dan said that he'd come through. So hopefully Dan Mitchell will be here to discuss the Buffalo Bills' complete domination of the Miami Dolphins coming up on Thursday Night Football this week. But yeah, again, folks, there's always sunshine after the storm. So these are dark times for the Dolphins. Hopefully they're leading towards good things coming, right? That's what you gotta hope for. That's what you gotta hope for. Find other things to bring you happiness until then. Fantasy teams, which I'm 0-2. 0-2 in the league that we got going on here. Elwood beat Nami this week. Mike Jones had a comeback victory on. I should be 2-0. I should be 2-0, but yeah. Yeah. Looks like I'm 2-0 in my other league. I got 2 leagues. So I'm 0-2 in this one, 2-0 in the other one. But yeah, just hope and pray, folks. Thursday's going to be a tough one. Thursday's going to be a tough one. Again, if you got a weak stomach, don't tune in. Don't tune in. But I'll be there in person. I will bring you live shots. I'll go live periodically. Hey, I got you, Big C. I took down Mike this week in fantasy. Yeah, Raphael, he scores less than 90 points against you. Last week he had Derrick Henry score 40 points on me. Like, I was literally beating Mike and acted like it was over, and then Derrick Henry just went off. But yeah. All right, folks, I'm going to get out of here. We'll have Dan Mitchell on the show to talk about the Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins tomorrow. I appreciate you all. I love you all. And keep your heads up. Again, we're in dark times, but hopefully we will overcome. And hopefully the next group of guys that Stephen Ross brings in will be the right set of guys. And we'll get, hopefully we can start the rebuild sooner rather than later. I hope that we figure out a way to get off to his contract. But yeah, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. And I will see you later. And keep your heads up. Fins up forever and ever. We're the diehards, right? We're the diehard fans. And we're going to stick with this team no matter what, unfortunately. There's times that I wish I could just move on. There's times that I could just wish I could move on, but I can't. I will forever support this team through the good, the bad, the ugly, and it is what it is. But I appreciate you all, and I will see you all tomorrow. Until then, fins up.
Yo. Big C in the house. You know the name. Fin Posse Podcast. Changing the game. Fins up high. Feel the aqua and orange. Miami Heat blazing. We scorching the floor. Movino the tour. We stacking the saga. Legacy deep, call it football nirvana. Big C, break it down, got the stats in his veins. Play-by-play knowledge like he's calling the chains. Fins flying on the field, opponents feel the blast. Tyreek cheetah speed, leaving DBs in the past. Waddle with the wiggle, defense with the clamp. Aqua drip so clean, whole squash the champ. Tune in, Big C, got the mic on lock. Fin Posse Podcast, it's the cream of the crop. Breaking news, hot takes, repping the block. For the Dolphin faithful, it's the one-stop shop. Fin Posse. We the voice of the fans. Miami stand tall, got the world in our hands. Best podcast, yo, ain't no debate. Big C, big vibes, setting it straight. Defense smash, call it aqua tsunami. X locking routes like a South Beach Armani. O-line holding strong, trenches like a fortress. Big C dissected, no stack goes dormant.